At center for the Moors, 6'8", senior number 54, Willie Burton.
Thank you for taking the time to hear my story. Although I've done a lot of extraordinary things on the basketball court and in my life, there were some dark places. Today we're going to revisit how trauma played a role in nearly derailing my career. As a child, I grew up with hardworking, supportive parents. I watched my parents' hard work catapult our family from a basement apartment to renting a two-family flat, then owning that two-family flat. Their motto was, when you start something, you should finish it. My introduction to athletics growing up was with my older cousins, playing football, basketball, baseball, running track. I had the kind of cousins who wouldn't let it rest when you lost. Being teased for losing, I developed the competitiveness in me that kept me performing at a very high level for quite a long time. Coming from a hard-working family and being someone who doesn't want to lose created a foundation for one of the most aggressive and fierce competitors that fans loved. My first organized sports was 5th grade basketball. My teammates and I began to learn the concepts of what they call running plays. That was my beginning, but I can't thank coaches enough. There was always at least one coach that was consistent and a supportive coach that was conscious of my situation and held me to a high standard. An example is Coach Littlejohn, my assistant high school coach. He could see when I was going through internal struggles, and he did the best he could to get me valuable information. The coaches were my heroes then and are my heroes now. I needed each and every individual in my life at the different stages of my life. I was unaware that the traumatic experiences that I witnessed as a child would have a direct impact on my future. My first traumatic experience was early on. I was only 5 years old when I witnessed my first person getting shot. I walked to the store with my 8-year-old cousin. As I walked towards the door, I heard 2 gunshots. Pow, pow. As I opened the door, there was a guy standing at the top of the stairs with a gun and another guy laying against the wall. And I turned and I ran back to my cousin, scared to death. We're talking about running to an 8-year-old. At the age of 9, I witnessed my first stabbing. I noticed 2 older individuals that I knew shooting dice. At the end of the game, an argument ensued over who owned the dice. One individual pulls out a knife and he stabs the other gentleman. Then he yells, "These dice are mine." I knew and had known them and their families. As I saw the guy laying on the ground, I ran over to the store and asked someone to call an ambulance. I wondered what the value of dice were, which would help me understand the value they had placed on each other's life. It was 69 cents. 69 cents. This traumatic situation shattered my trust in the term friend. Relationships with others did not necessarily mean safety. Basically, as a kid, I spent my early years in fear. I found myself being highly aware of confrontations of any kind, 24 hours a day as long as my eyes were open. No matter what I did, I couldn't run from it. I had moved from an area where shootings had taken place regularly to an area where people were just fighting. You might get beat up, but you're not going to lose your life. I spent more time being kicked off of teams for fighting in middle school than on teams. I felt the need to make sure that I was respected off the court. I went from being bullied to being a bully. I'll tell you this, you show me a bully and I'll show you someone that was once bullied. And once again, another one of my coaches jumped in and saved the day. Mr. Woods, he believed in me. He said I couldn't live in both worlds, justifying deviant behavior with the discipline needed in being the athlete he envisioned. During my high school years, that was also my introduction to alcohol and drugs, which became my coping mechanism. I basically found a new way of hiding off the court without feeling the fear of being shot, stabbed, or killed. After high school, I received a scholarship to the University of Minnesota. My coach got me out of there 5 days after graduation. It was probably one of the best things for me. Now was my big transition from one of the most dangerous environments in the country to peace and harmony. From parents and coaches to just coaching mentors. From Coach Clem Haskins, who tasked Milton Barnes with keeping track of me, then later Silas McKinney. Then add my teammates, Melvin Newbern and Connell Lewis. As you can see, I had all the support in the world to keep me from self-destructing. I remember my teammate, Walter Bond. He's also a former NBA basketball player and a Hall of Fame national speaker. Walter said, "Willie, you were never comfortable. You never seemed at peace. And you were always playing with your hands, like you have a nervous condition. Today they call it post-traumatic stress. My great play on the basketball court camouflaged my handicap. Though I had an extensive support network, good structure, and the best facilities, I never got over the things I experienced as a child. Alcohol affected my performance with multiple ankle sprains. Academically, affected my grades. My mental capacity was masked. My awareness was not sharp."
With the 9th pick in the 1990 NBA draft, the Miami Heat selects Willie Burton from Minnesota.
Willie Burton from the Minnesota Golden Gophers, the 9th overall selection in 1990.
I went from the icebox in Minnesota to the beaches in Miami. I scored 25 points in my first game, a record for 25 years until LeBron James broke it. In the NBA, it was a much faster lifestyle. At this stage right here, there is no Little John, there's no Coach Barnes, or no Coach McKinney. As the money escalated, so did my alcohol abuse. More money, and I didn't have my usual support group. My alcohol abuse eventually led to health issues. I can vividly remember having stomach issues repeatedly while playing my first year, 22 years old. And alcohol had gave me the stomach of a 50-year-old person. I would later find myself in the NBA hiding in closets. I would wonder where I would go or where I would be if I had gotten help earlier. And that's why we are here today. This is why I'm talking to you. Because I wondered, how did I get here at that time? But more importantly, I had no idea how to get out. I finally had to admit the first time in my life that I had gotten into a situation that I could not get myself out of alone. But I needed to make a decision to save my life. I entered the NBA's alcohol, drug, and behavior program. They said my biggest problem was my behavior. Now, my behavior was based on my experiences. That drugs and alcohol were just a symptom, and I'm running from something. I went through a 7-year growth process of self-awareness and and self-discovery. The benefits of healing were taking off the mask, letting go of my pain, and getting in touch with my emotions. I no longer had an excuse to continue living recklessly. I learned to live in a new and different way. I learned to trust others and allow them to guide me and give me information on a new way of living, which I so desperately needed. You know, I've dedicated my life to developing and implementing programs to assist stakeholders in identifying the next Willie or Wendy. Though basketball was my gift, helping others is my purpose. In your building or athletic departments, students may be suffering from the same attempts to self-medicate that I did, not understanding why. When we as educators, coaches, administrators, and parents are able to identify issues early, there will be no need to retrain an adult like myself during what should have been a happy time. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I hope that I've shed some light on the effects of childhood trauma.